grand tours, rebirths, and more than one sequel. Hello, I'm Matthew, welcome to Watch It Played, and this is your board game news. Renegade Studios, the makers of the Power Rangers and G.I. Joe deck building games, as well as classically games such as Fox in the Forest and Arboretum, and a great swath of pop culture inspired RPGs, have announced that they will be bringing back Axis and Allies, Robo Rally, Diplomacy, and Squad Leader. The primary information that Renegade has provided so far about the upcoming plans to expand the world of Axis and Allies, which I suppose would be Earth. There's a map, it's Earth. Regardless, it seems that starting next year, Renegade will work with Hasbro on plans to produce all the versions of these brands for the hobby, mass, and specialty markets. Renegade said that this includes a brand new site for Axis and Allies, and I've been speculating whether site could mean a new website, an online implementation, a different map, where they make the game. I don't know. I'm looking forward to finding out though, but what I do know is that there's also plans for a world championship and fan involvement in selecting new themes to add to the line as they also reprint the older games in this series. This news really took me by surprise, but it makes sense that classic titles are being brought back to us. People want and love these games, so why not reprint them? First published around 1,000 years ago in 1981, Axis and Allies depicts World War II on a grand scale, full global level, and up to 5 players can play on 2 different teams, and there have been at least 15 games in the series, so with more it seems to come, starting next year. At this time, it's assumed that the other 3 titles will just be reprints and not updated versions, though who knows, that certainly could change. Also changing is the enigmatic world through the Looking Glass, the first game that helped make this video possible. Wonderlands War. From Druid City Games, running right now on Kickstarter, shards of madness have caused the denizens of Wonderland to erupt into war, and allying with various Wonderlandians and their artifacts can provide powerful rewards, but at what cost? Will you risk looking into the chaotic grin of the Cheshire Cat? Will you drink the Hatter's mercurial tea? Everything is on the table in Wonderlands War, so follow the link in this video's description to find and back Wonderlands War's Kickstarter campaign, which is running now through October 28th. Additionally, its pledge manager will be open after the campaign to accept late pledges, but take the White Rabbit's advice and don't be late. Flamme Rouge, the excellent 2 to 4 player bicycle racing game from Lauter Pellet, is getting both an expansion and a sequel next year. This tactical game where each player controls a team of 2 riders and utilises the mighty power of slipstreams to avoid exhaustion is entering the next stage of the race with Flamme Rouge Grand Tour, which introduces multi-stage campaigns varying from short 3-stage tours all the way up to 21-stage grand tours. And the expansion also includes new track tiles, specialist stages and specialist riders that let you customise your decks. But that's not all, because at their Essen booth earlier this month they had an image displayed for Flamme Rouge BMX, which is also due out sometime next year, though they are keeping details for that one slightly more guarded for now. Cyclades, which turns out isn't a bicycle racing game, is getting a remake with the announcement of Cyclades 2, which is a bit on the nose for my taste, but it does get the point across. The original 2 to 5 player Cyclades from Bruno Cathala and Ludovic Malblanc was a wonderful crossover game that mixed Eurogame mechanisms like auctions and set collection with Ameritrash style minis, dice and combat to create a truly excellent game set in the world of Greek myth as you race to be the first player to build 2 cities. This remake has all the core of the original with a bunch of new tweaks, upgrades and additions, including modular map tiles which players use to construct the game board as a group to begin the game, as well as rules changes such as you now needing to build 3 cities to win. And there's going to be a new track on the board for heroes who will aid you in the game until you need to sacrifice them, you know. Which sounds pretty cool, honestly, with the whole project is going to crowdfunding next year. Dice Manor launched at Essen Spiel last month, and I tell you what, it looks pretty fun. In this 2 to 4 player property development game, world-renowned property developers, Mundane Manors, are tired of making the same old boring dream homes, which is a sentence that I'm sure we all can relate to. But these corporate suits are looking to rebrand, and they challenge you, their designers, to dream big and create more lavish homes than ever imagined. My dream home is just any home far, far away from any other home. Over the course of rounds, you'll be using dice, hence the name, to bid for blueprints, earn advertising spaces, collect inspiration tokens, and give early tours of your palatial creations, which all culminates with the grand opening, where you'll hope to earn the most praise from the community, which is a thematic way of saying the best house gets the most points. This one looks great. It's been likened to the excellent game Las Vegas with its use of dice, so I'm all in on this one when it's fully available soon. Pandasaurus released a fairly cryptic post about an upcoming game from designer Emerson Matsuuchi, who brought us Century Spice Road and Foundations of Rome, but it seems that they have partnered with Atlas to bring us Persona 5 Royal card game. Persona is a prolific line of JRPGs which normally include a group of students as the main cast, a silent protagonist, and fighting using personas, which are the physical manifestations of a person's psyche and their subconscious that's used for combat. Matsuuchi teased out some things about the gameplay, saying players will take on the roles of their favourite phantom thieves and fight to change the world in this cooperative card-based strategy game. And the game is set to launch late next year. So if you're one of the millions of Persona fans out there and you like board games, then it looks like you're in luck. And you're also in luck if you're one of the tens of Chaz fans who, statistically speaking, must be out there. Because joining us now is Chaz with a dive into a new publishing program that may have a ripple effect throughout the gaming industry.
Asmodee Games, titan of the tabletop industry, setter of corporate trends, anagram of mega sea domes. Asmodee has made headlines several times over the years. First with their position on acquisition, buying up dozens of game publishers to pad their portfolio, like Catan, Days of Wonder, Exploding Kittens, Space Cowboys, Fantasy Flight Games, Z-Man Games, and others. And then they did it again, more recently, when they put their company up for sale at the bargain basement price of $2 billion. Oh, how I did scoff at the notion that a board game publishing / distribution company, or whatever you call it, could sell for $2 billion. Oh, I scoffed and I mocked. And I was right, because it was eventually purchased by Embracer Group for $3 billion. So, I sure showed them. So now, what does the board game company that owns most of the other board game companies do as their next move to create relationships with even more board game companies? Well, this past week, the answer to that question proved to be provide a means for those board game companies to join the fold and take advantage of Asmodee's publishing and distribution resources by announcing a new partnership initiative for board game publishers called Welcome by Asmodee. The premise of the program is to provide assistance to board game publishers that they don't already work with or own outright by giving those publishers access to a singular central point of contact within Asmodee to help them develop custom solutions for their, quote, logistical distribution needs. Or, in other words, we put all our games all over the place, so let us help you put your games all over our place too. Among other tools, the Welcome by Asmodee program will host a website that publishers can use to pitch their games for consideration in the library of games that this program will support. And established titles will have opportunities for licensing, distribution, translation, and localization services through the program. Now, as skeptical as I am about anything that I don't fully understand or benefit directly from, I have to admit that, yeah, a program that will help more games be translated into more languages so more people can enjoy them, yeah, that does sound pretty cool. According to the Asmodee representative that's spearheading Welcome by Asmodee, quote, Asmodee has built a robust organization of studios that publish some of the world's best games, and with Welcome to Asmodee, we will highlight the up-and-coming successes and make it that much easier for companies to connect and operate with our global network of distributors. Now, on the one hand, this could certainly be a wise tactical move that provides a way for games developed by smaller and independent studios to reach more people. Neat! On the other hand, though, it could be seen as a way for Asmodee to devise a method to distribute every single board game in the world, even the ones that they don't already own. So, Down in the comments, let me know what you think. Is this a cunning consumer convenience or a covert corporate control? Or both? Or neither? Or something else entirely that I didn't even think to write down? You can tell that I put a lot of thought into this. Thanks. Let us know what you think.
Thanks, Chaz. And also worth looking into is the other game that helped make this episode possible. Tidal Blades Banner Festival from Lucky Duck Game in partnership with Druid City Games, where flags of all colours dance in the wind as Niverians converge to trawl for the long-awaited Banner Festival. Now join them to compete and claim victory in Tidal Blades Banner Festival. Generate the most profits from your trading house by selling goods, befriending the right suppliers and making bets at the watercraft race. With multi-use cards and a dynamic trick-taking system, opportunities abound in this floating market, but only the keenest trader will prevail. Follow the link in this video's description to find Tidal Blades Banner Festival at retail locations starting in mid-October, and for pre-orders on the Lucky Duck Games website now. Some quickfire news now. Dreadful Meadows is a Halloween-y type game that I really like the look of, coming to Kickstarter soon from Arcus Games, when a land of tricks and treats, cookie confectioners compete to be this season's sweetest supplier. In the game, 1 to 4 confectioners will sow and grow sinister seeds to create the most bountiful candy crops through the tile. Why am I doing this? Tile placement and resource confectioners, and the game progresses. You'll cultivate your candy fields to help you expand and experiment as you conjure up a crew of magical sprites who lend a hand with their abnormal abilities. This one is all about clever and well-timed tile placement, as each tile you place will activate the ones around it, and the art of streamlined play looks like it's right up my street, so I'll be looking out for this project soon when it launches. 25th Century Games have announced the 1 to 5 player Agueda, where every summer the town of Agueda in Portugal transforms into a beautiful arts festival with colourful umbrellas hanging above the streets and decorated lampposts, murals and other installations around the quaint city. Which is just like my town, where once a year the circus comes and everyone litters in the park. Players take on the role of festival artists, decorating the city streets with their own colourful umbrellas to attract the most tourists, and as an artist, which is a sentence I say a lot, you will need to balance the requests of the city, shops and tourists to create the most stunning arrangement of umbrellas. Especially as it's inspired by the real-life annual festival in Agueda, Portugal, called the Umbrella Sky Project. And 25th Century Games worked with the Umbrella Sky Project to illustrate the box cover and incorporate their annual tourist maps into the game. Sir Ian Livingstone's Judge Dredd is being brought back by Rebellion Unplugged. Sir Ian was the co-founder of both the fighting fantasy line of Choose Your Own Adventure books, as well as the co-founder of Games Workshop. But he also designs games, and his 1982 Judge Dredd is back, where you are the law. And under your watchful eye, no one escapes justice, whether their crime is littering or murder. Sounds fair, especially if he's patrolling my local park. We are promised the ultimate 2 to 6 player Judge Dredd experience with updated rules and graphic design, and the introduction of specialist judges who are unique playable characters equipped with powerful abilities as you head onto the streets of Mega City 1 to prove that you are worthy of the badge by bringing the Angel Gang, Judge Death, Orlok the Assassin and other notorious lawbreakers to justice next year. Oh, and what's that? Is that like some type of open mic type discussion show where we answer board game questions? There's only one way to find out. I'll see you over there.